Hi everyone, this is Om and welcome to Games UX Byte. I'm trying to test out this new format where I want to quickly touch up on a topic related to UX and games UX, that I find quite interesting based on my experience working in different companies, on several games, or working with clients in my day-to-day work. Or it may be any topic that the audience who's watching this video might come up with and want some more information on. So for starters, today I'm going to talk about UX debt. Now, what is UX debt? Basically, it refers to additional time, effort, and cost required to refactor a game to optimize it to offer the best possible user experience to the user after a product has been launched. Now, why does UX debt originates? It originates because there's several reasons for that. There are many reasons because of which UX debt arises. But I'll pick up my three top favorite ones, which I've seen very often when I do UX audits. Anytime I join a company or work with a client, the first thing I want to do is play the game and do an audit. A UX audit is like a financial audit. You are looking at different aspects of the game, right from how players learn about it, how they discover it, what are the best usability practices the game is following and confirming in terms of intuitiveness, accessibility, player education, progression, satisfying reward moments, the balance of challenge, matchmaking, etc. So basically, you are auditing every aspect of the game and then trying to see what issues you are finding. And often in my experience, I find, there are a lot of line items. There are sometimes issues with the legibility of the content on a screen. It could be overwhelming for the users. The text doesn't make sense. The icons are ambiguous. Player education or FATUI is not, fully optimized. So there are a lot of loading screens and so on. So often what happens when I find a lot of issues in a game, I try to take a step back and understand, okay, instead of chasing the line items, which many designers can fall into the trap of, and it can frustrate them. Oh, this is such a easy thing. For example, why do we have 4 steps to get to this feature when we can eliminate a screen, because it's creating more friction for the user. And when I see a lot of these usability breaks or fails, I try to understand, okay, why is the product like this? I try to take a step back and understand what is causing this. And often what I find is, when you try to find the cause rather than just treating the symptoms, you can give the team more visibility into not only how they can improve their product now, but also when they add more features to their design going ahead. So what I find is, many times, like I said, there is the issue of UX debt. Now, how does UX debt originate? The first foremost reason I found is technical debt. Now, like UX debt, technical debt also originates from this mentality, which is very common in software development and game development, of shipping a game very fast, an idea very fast, prototyping it, and then putting it out in the wild. And as it starts gaining traction, you start adding more body to it, you start adding more content to it, more features to it. But what happens is, in their quest to quickly ship out a product, the developers are actually taking shortcuts. They are hard coding things in the code. They are making things which are quick and easy to implement code wise, which also results in suboptimal choices for the kind of widgets they are using. So they can just ship it out very quickly and test the hypothesis. But what happens is, as a team tries to scale a product which is showing traction, they never go back and optimize or fix those shortcuts that they have taken. So what happens is, technical debt is the additional cost and effort required, just like UX debt, to optimize the code so that it works more seamlessly, so that it can be scaled much better after a team has made suboptimal choices in the past. So technical debt will automatically result in UX debt. Here is one-off example. For example, let's say if as a player I'm taking part in a quest or a mission and I get enough items or currency to upgrade my character. Now, on the result screen itself, where a player has probably finished the quest, we can show a upgrade button and the player can click on it and go directly to the upgrade screen and upgrade that character. That would be the ideal flow, deep link player to where they can go and take that action immediately if that's a priority for the player. But if you have technical debt, which makes it impossible many times to deep link different screens, because each screen might be a separate state in itself, a separate actor in itself. You'll hear these terms. I'm sure you've heard these terms. So what the developer might tell you, we can't do this because in order to go back from a win screen to an upgrade screen, you have to guide the player back to home screen, which might require a loading screen because the code is unoptimized or the screens don't talk to each other. And from the home screen, we have to guide the player through a pip notification, and when they tap on that upgrade button to access that screen, there might be another loading screen. So what you're saying is, oh, as a UX designer, you want player to immediately go with minimum number of taps and friction, and go and upgrade that character. It's an additional layer of reward for them that they can upgrade themselves after winning these rewards. But now, because of this technical debt, you have to place loading screens and 3 more layers of taps in their journey, player journey for upgrading when they have won rewards. So that's one example of how technical debt creates UX debt. It creates additional friction and cognitive load. Another popular cause of technical debt is many times, the choice of widgets or the layout of the screen that has been used is suboptimal, because in my experience, many times, the teams are young, they're moving fast, they don't have UX capability. So there are product managers or game designers who have some understanding of UX trying to design these screens just to, ship the product out quickly, which can accrue in UX debt, because while they are aware of UX principles, they are not subject matter experts. They might not think of all the use cases. They might not think of whether this screen, if it makes sense to them, is usable or easy enough for the player. Maybe they did not test the idea with a simple wireframe prototype before with actual players or their peers, rather than just implementing and then getting the feedback on how to improve it. So basically, they might have skipped steps which you take in a normal UX design process of validating the idea and design before you go to dev. And here's an example of it. For example, a feature might be there which might have a first-time user experience baked into it, but it is complicated enough and requires reinforcing that knowledge again and again. So the designer, game designer, or product manager might not have thought of how to re-educate the player, reinforce that knowledge in different parts of the game. The simplest way could have been make them go through the loop 2 or 3 times, or have this prompt somewhere appear as tips in your loading screens. They might not have thought of those. So because the feature was designed by a person who did not have enough experience with UX process, pipelines, and methods, they might have designed something which is suboptimal. So that is another reason of why UX debt accrues. And the third reason is, and this is a trap I've seen even seasoned designers fall into, they're not thinking about future proofing their designs. So what do I mean by future proofing? For example, today you launch a game which has a couple of features in it, 4-5 buttons and so on, and they think, yeah, given the amount of information they have, the amount of features they have to place in this screen, this design fulfills the functions. It's easy enough to read, it's intuitive, there are not too many CTAs, it's not overwhelming. But they don't realize what this screen, and in most instances it happens with the home screen or the lobby screen of games. They don't realize after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the line, there might be additional more 3 features. There might be additional more 5-6 features, more buttons coming in which were not present when the game was launched. So they are not thinking enough about future proofing their designs. So here's a very quick example of it. For example, you might have an inventory screen which is designed to show players what all items they own in the game, and initially you might have thought, okay, there will never be more than 3-4 categories at any given point of time. Player will not have more than 10-20 items, so why don't we show them big chunky items, visual items which are more aspirational and aesthetic to look at, and gives them all the information they need. But what happens when that item list grows to 200, 250 plus? Do you think showing these big icons was the best idea? Could there have been a list item view? Should we have had some kind of filtration built in? Should we have used tabs for segregating by category types? So what I'm saying is, when you are not thinking about future proofing the design, you can create the best solution you think will work at this point of time for the user, but going ahead, that might not be the best fit. So yeah, this is what UX debt is, and I explained to there are many ways UX debt can accrue as a result of technical debt, designed by committee or designed by stakeholders who are not experienced with UX, and lastly, inability of the team or the designers themselves to future-proof the design, and thinking, how far ahead they should think above. So, guys, this is with that I'll wrap up the first UX Games UX Byte session. Feel free to add your experience and comments on it, and if there's any topic you want to hear about from me, feel free to write in comments. Cheers. See you for now.